Welcome to another trade recap. We ended up making just under 1.6R yesterday on Nasdaq. A couple of $1,000, 4 minutes in the market open. Yeah, a total of 45-second trade. You would have probably seen on my other socials on some Alpha Future accounts. But we'll get into why I actually ended up taking it. First thing I was seeing was the 4 hour. I was bullish till 50% of this 4 hour gap. And we end up getting a little pump before market open, as you're going to see. When I go to the 1 minute, I was looking for price to stay in this kind of range here, come down lower, sweep out maybe these lows here, and then go higher up to 50% before market open. But as you can see, price ended up tapping in and taking that just as I came on pre-market. So there was no positions to it. I ended up taking nothing to it. Now, I was looking short from this area as when I go to the 4 hour, we're obviously respecting 50% of this gap. When I go to the 1 hour, we swept this high inside a gap. To me, we had unfilled fair value gaps below. We had a 1 hour unfilled gap right here. Remember that line right there. Gonna mark that as red line. And obviously there was targets lower again. Let's go back to the 1 minute. Let's go to actual market open. So here is what I was seeing. Price opens up and we completely dumped the downside with the 1 minute, leaving us this order block here, this lovely order block to the downside. We then obviously inverse this gap. If any of you guys know how I trade, this would have been a position I would have entered if we did not close below the low, and I would have used maybe this low here or these lows here as break even. But as you can see, it already swept it before we could enter the position. So I didn't enter in there. What I waited for is price to come back up, and when we swept my break even, I need confirmation on a new break even level. So I had this 930 low as my new level I was looking for price to use as a break even for a short if we end up getting a position. What did we see? We get a push to the upside. We end up respecting this inverse here. So I'm watching prices failing to break to the upside. Again, we tap in this order block, reject down. You could enter it in short here. It would have been the worst position in the world. Not my type of entry, but this to me is a protected high. And then you could have targeted lows down here. That could have been your first trade idea. That would have been a very nice trade in my opinion. But what I did, I waited for the 30 seconds. So coming over to Alpha, this is what I was looking for. We end up tapping into the order block right here. As you can see, that is the wick down. So that would have been the position I talked about, where you could have used it as a protected high. I ended up using it because price pushes back down. We create an order block here in the 30 second, as well as respecting this 30 second inverse, as well as respecting a 1 minute inverse, respecting a 1 minute and 30 second inverse twice, making a new order block. Get me in here. No bottom wick, momentum pushing downside, using this low as our break even, as I mentioned, the 930 swing. And that was the position. I entered in 10 contracts straight away. Just entered, literally hit 10. Prices ran straight to my break even, like within seconds. As you would have seen if you looked at my TikTok and Instagram video, literally didn't get a chance to even draw out the position and I was basically done. I just targeted a $600 day because on some of my Alpha Zero qualified accounts, I only needed $600 for payout. Now I just need to get a winning day. I didn't want to make too much for consistency, so that's where I ended up taking profits. If you were holding, I would have held till the 1 hour unfilled gap, which is this low down here, and you would have ended up getting 2R. That's easy to say in hindsight, but as I've said, that was my draw down here. One of these draws, it ended up being, if you took that position, that entry ended up getting 3R on that position, I think. Maybe it was lower, but that one of these lows would have been what I would have been targeting. I ended up getting just about 1.5R. It ended up being, depending on fills, that type of thing. It ended up being about 1.5R. And that was me done for the day. I ended up taking one long layer I will show, but I'll just show this trade here if you did take it. I know, again, it's easy to say in hindsight, but as I've explained why I was looking for this position, as you would have seen, you delivered straight to TP in 2 minutes. So that would have been a very nice position in my opinion. Your whole setup's right. Every confluence you're looking to get respected gets respected. You need to enter that position. Now, I know it's not entering directly off an inverse. It is a bit of a different position for me, but that's the benefit a little bit to discretionary trading. You don't have to follow it. You don't have to, I need to be careful how I word this. You don't have to follow it to a T. I entered using the inverse, waiting for it to get respected because we made a new break-even level. I didn't FOMO in, I didn't enter, I needed a new break-even level, and when we made one and when we got an entry to it, that is when I entered the position. And that's the shorts I took. Then longs. I ended up taking some longs on an eval to pass an eval as I'm growing my funding. Coming up, this will be the last week I'm trading price action on funded accounts until the 6th or 5th of January, whatever it is. So for 2 weeks over Christmas, I won't be trading as much. I'm taking a lot of days off, not gonna lie. Been a busy year, been a successful year in my eyes. But I'll be trading some evals, getting some more capital together over the Christmas period. Taking advantage of some sales. Loads of companies gonna have some sales. So make sure you keep an eye out for all that good stuff. Here we go. So this is what we're looking for here. Oh, I've made myself bigger. Hold on, we need to get back into position. There we go. So I'm going to show you what I was looking for these 5-min shorts. If we go to the 1 hour, I'm going to put it at the top of the move, and I'm going to put the bottom of the move. Right there. So where do we tap into? We tap back into 50% of the range and reject from it. What's in 50% of the range? A 1 hour fair value gap, a 30-minute fair value gap, a 15-minute fair value gap. We'll keep going. A 5-minute high inside a fair value gap that actually got inverse, but the higher time frames are showing me lower. Now, this is an area, as I've said, premium discount. You're seeing how effective it can be used. I used it in the order, or in the first example of the fair value gap. This is an inverse I'll be looking for. You always need a drawn liquidity. In my last trade, the drawn liquidity was an hour unfilled gap. In this one, it's relative equal lows to the downside. A good few people in my community, in my free Discord, took this as well. One of my best mentee that's got multiple payouts, he took this as well. There we go. We get that momentum to the downside. That was the position. Something like this as a stop loss and target here for your TP. Something like this, depending on where you put your stops and stuff. Excuse me. It definitely would have been a winning position at least for 1 hour. As you can see, we ended up delivering lower to TP, as you would have seen right there. So we end up hitting TP right there. No matter what low you put of, you just nick TP. And that was the trade I took on evals. I only needed 0.8 R to pass the eval, so that's what I did. Again, proof of the last trade I took as well is on my TikTok and Instagram, as always, on my story and in my win section, my highlights as well. So there were the 2 trades I ended up taking yesterday and what I was looking at. Pretty easy day to read price action, in my opinion. Get your premium discount tool up, use 50% ranges, look and wait for your confidence to get respected and disrespected, and take your position. Sometimes trading is not that difficult. This was an easier day to trade, in my opinion. That's just my opinion though. For your strategy, it might have been harder to trade this. Thankfully, I caught the top. For anyone wondering the position I took, if I got perfect fills, if I got the perfect fill, put stops there, and target the bottom of the move down, it was just about 12 R. So that was my entry. I top ticked the move, you could say, but as I've said, I didn't top tick the move. I would have been took out trailing. I would have been took out because of consistency, all these different things. So there was no way I was holding for all that, obviously. And my draw was not that low, to be honest. Got to be honest. But still, you only need a piece of the pie to make money, as I always say. You don't need to catch the whole pie. So that was me done. Any questions, drop me a message on Instagram. I'd be happy to help. And then the free Discord and mentorship links are below as well. Peace out.